Now, my idea was to avoid that, although I supported this authority, I'm not happy with what has happened. But even shortly after 9/11 and even currently, I have introduced a bill that was suggested by the founders, which is in the Constitution, which is to narrow our focus, and it's called a letter of marque and reprisal. And this is a tool that was used by our early presidents when they did not want to go to war when it wasn't necessary. This is the technique that Jefferson and Adams and others dealt with the Barbary pirates. The pirates were attacking our ships, and they wanted to deal with it, but they didn't want to declare war. It wasn't to that point. Besides, the pirates didn't belong to any country. So this suggests something like what's going on right now. So the letter of marque and reprisal is something that the Congress, once again, issues, and it gives private sources an authority to go and do the job. And they get rewarded for it. And I think the best example of how to understand this and why it could be very practical is was the problem that Carter had in the 1970s, and that is when the hostages were taken. And it was so difficult, and of course that blew up in our face, and the results weren't very good. But shortly before the hostages were taken, Ross Perot had a bunch of his men taken as hostages in Iraq. And he didn't wait and get permission. He assumed his own responsibility. He was going to get his troops back. He wasn't going to come and plead that we go to war or anything else and come to the government. He hired some people, and he went over there and he rescued them and got them all home. And he literally took it upon himself. There's no reason why that concept can't be adapted to say that we can go after, especially 6 years ago, when the Al-Qaeda was much smaller, that if we'd have used that principle, they might have been able to go in there and hire a company, something like a Ross Perot. Just think how much cheaper it would have been if we could have given them $1 billion. And how many lives would we have saved? They could have very well been successful. We could have avoided all this because we didn't need to declare war against everybody and start invading countries.